Syllaboo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I'm your host, Harry Rice. You're listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. We've got a game to talk about. The Montreal Canadiens were playing tonight. They were in Columbus. I believe the Nationwide Arena, I'm pretty sure, is what their place of hockey is called. So yeah, the Canadiens were in Columbus, and unfortunately for a lot of people, they probably couldn't watch this game because it is one of the Amazon Prime exclusive games. It was Monday Night Hockey on Prime, and this was the game that was chosen to be the game for this week. It was the one that was on Amazon Prime, of course. Every Monday they have I don't think it's every Monday. I think it's every 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure. It might be every Monday, but I think there's too few games to actually be every Monday. But anyways, Canadian team gets picked to have a game for Prime on Monday, and we were this week's team. It's our second game. I feel like it's most teams have one every month. No, there's only 4 Mondays in a month. Whatever. But yeah, the Canadiens played it tonight, and it was the game against Columbus. And we couldn't find the game at first because we looked on TSN and Sportsnet, and we couldn't find the game, and then we remembered where the game was. I had to look it up real quick, and we found it. We didn't miss any of the game time action. So yeah, it was a 7:30 start, which explains why this is coming out a good bit after it normally would. So yeah, and of course, before we talk about the Canadiens games with my notes, we've got to do the lineups. That's right, the lineups where there were some changes made, and by that I mean really just technically 2. Well, actually 3, because someone got called up because Kirby Dach is hurt. I believe they said a broken foot. He is out. I believe it was 4 to 6 weeks, or 6 to 8 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was 4 to 6 weeks, though. So we had to call up Joshua Waugh. So he's going to be in the lineup tonight. Now the opening lines for the Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, Bolduc, Slavkovsky, Kapanen, Demidov, Waugh, Evans, Anderson, and Davidson, Veleno, Gallagher. On the blue line was Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hudson, and Jack-Eye Carrier. So technically a change there. Struble was on the left side, Hudson's on the right. No, actually, that sounds right. For some reason, I keep thinking Hudson's playing on the left, but no, it makes sense because that's where Gooley was. So they just replaced Gooley with Struble. Jakub Dobeš, surprisingly, gets the start net for the Canadiens, and Samuel Montembeault backs him up despite having the much better numbers so far in November. I imagine he is probably going to go in Thursday against Washington, but we'll of course see. The opening lines for the Blue Jackets were Chinakhov, Monahan, Johnson, that is Habs legend Sean Monahan, Voronkov, Fantilli, Marchenko, Sillinger, Coyle, Olivier, and Aston Reese, Lundestrom, and Miles Wood. On the forward core, Miles Wood, who just recently came back from having his fucking eye hacked at with a high stick. Insane incident that happened there. I'm glad that he was back tonight. Werenski, Provorov, Matachuk, Severenson, and Christensen Fabro were on the blue line. Jet Greaves gets the start for the Blue Jackets, as he has been pretty solid recently. I believe this is his 5th straight start. He will not get the 6th as Elvis Merzlikins backs him up, and it's already confirmed, I believe, that he will get the start for the Blue Jackets tomorrow, as I believe they take on Washington. I believe they do. But either way, I know they do play tomorrow, or well, probably today by the time this podcast comes out, but they do play whenever this podcast comes out, and Merzlikins is going to get the start in that game. So, yeah. Let's get into the notes. So, firstly, I did say Bolduc is on the top line tonight, basically just as a reminder for me to take a look back at the lines and make sure I correct them, which I did. Dobeš makes a save 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. That's the first shot of the game. Veleno has a good hit behind the Jackets' net. Struble has a hit shortly after. Bolduc off a pass, good speed, but he drops it instead of going for a shot. Slavkovsky gets hit along the boards by Provorov. He then gets set up here. He has the Canadiens' first shot of the game. Jack-Eye has a big slapper off a rebound. That gets blocked in the slot. Back the other way, the Jackets score 6:58 in. Dobesh sort of got screened. It looked like he couldn't see the shot. Zach Werenski gets his 5th of the year. He just wrists it home, I would say from the blue line, but he kind of moved up to the bottom of the left circle before he shot it. So, Werenski goes right side over the glove. He scores from Mathieu Olivier and Charlie Coyle 7 minutes in. There's a weird bouncer for Fantilli. That nearly gets past Dobesh. The shots were 7-1 Blue Jackets at the half. Habs just had not kicked into any type of gear at this point, and they wouldn't for a little bit longer. Habs try to rush. Jackets were playing solid defense at this stage. Voronkov springs Fantilli, who gets in. He's nearly on a break, but Dobson gets a stick in there to block that chance. There's good puck bounces for the Jackets as they held on to one after a near breakup by the Canadiens, but they do hold. Habs end up getting away with a slash. Jack has a hard shot stopped by Greaves' pad. Jackets press with 5 minutes left. There's a shot that's blocked, and then one that gets held by Dobesh. Matheson clears the trash, and Christensen doesn't like that, but Dobson says, "No, you're not going to get at him. Thank you very much." Off a battle in the corner, Jackets have another shot. There's a turnover by Gallagher. Davidson pokes at a rebound, but Greaves does hold. Gallagher gets held up by Matichuk after the play. He does not want to upset Gallagher there. Off a face-off, there's a shot. The rebound in the slot for Evans, but Greaves with a great save. Greaves did not have to make many tough saves in this game, but he was pretty good when he did need to make some stops. He was definitely the much better goaltender in this game. Habs' fourth line presses. There's a look for Davidson, but he can't score. Good D play by Hudson on Sillinger in the last minute. Hudson's defense is slowly getting better. He's never going to win a Norris for his defensive play, or if they ever make a Rod Langway Defensive Defenseman Award. He's never going to win that. But I think in his prime, he's going to be a responsible, solid enough defensive player. Defensively responsible player, I'll say. So the shots are 10-8 for the Blue Jackets, and they've got a 1-0 lead after the first period. No, I don't know where a majority of those Canadian shots came from in the last 5 minutes, but they were there. Canadians did get shots. In the second period, the Habs can't clear the zone in the opening minute. Jackets have pressure, but there's nothing to the net early. Slavkovsky does good at holding the puck in the zone. Habs are slowly cycling, and it ends up working. Slavkovsky around the net, drops to Demidov, finds Matheson, Demidov. They were very solid tonight. I think Demidov, Slavkovsky, and even to an extent Matheson was pretty okay for a majority of the game. But the Canadiens score at 4:47. Oliver Kapanen with his 7th goal of the year. He is now second on the team in goal scoring, tied with Slavkovsky. Absolutely insane that Oliver Kapanen has just come out of nowhere looking like he could potentially score 40 this year. He's not going to, but hell, I'd appreciate any scoring we can get. He might score 25, 30. We'll see if the halfway slump hits like it seems to hit a lot of rookies where they hit that sort of that 40-50 game mark and that offense just dies for a lot of rookies. We'll see if that happens with Kapanen or if he holds through it the way that Hudson did last year. But Kapanen, he gets his 7th, like I said, for Matheson and Demidov. That's really created by Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky, really good hold on the puck at the blue line. Jumped up with it. Matheson jumped up with it. Found Demidov. Back to Matheson. Into the slot for Kapanen. He fired it home. And at 4:47, ties it up. It's a brand new game. Literally a brand new game. It was a 1-1 tie. And the shots were 11 apiece. So, literally brand new game. And it looks like it. The Habs actually have a lot of life now. They were suddenly remembering they can be fast. There's some good passing. There's a couple shots starting to come their way. Davidson sets up Veleno only for the puck to just roll off his stick. The Blue Jackets ice it the other way. Not a lot of icings in this game. There were some whistles. Weirdly enough, for a portion, until about the halfway point of the game, it really wasn't a high-impact game, as you guys can tell, I'm sure, by the notes I'm taking. It really wasn't very high impact. It was just, there's a couple shots here. Oh, Graves made that really good save on Evans. But aside from that, really not a ton of expert chances, not a lot of rush chances like you'd get in the second half of the game. There's an Olivier shot, leads to some Jackets pressure. Dobesh ends up making the save. Kapanen off a pass from Demidov. Good stop, gets gloved and held by Greaves. Suzuki takes a hit from Werenski. Bolduc then knees Werenski in the head, not on purpose, obviously. It's not Jason Spezza, Neil Pionk. It's very Corey Perry on John Tavares. It's just Werenski gives the hit, he goes down, and Bolduc skating through there. The Habs then score out of nowhere. It's a shoot-in on a delayed offside. It goes off the official. Greaves is behind the net, thinking it's about to hit him, and it's in the net, and it's ruled no goal immediately. That is very unfortunate. Firstly, it was a delayed offside, and those goals don't count. But it also, I believe, went right off of the official and into the net. And as Roberto Luongo knows very well, a puck cannot go in directly off an official into the net and count as a goal. So unfortunately, the Canadiens do not have the 2-1 lead, but the Blue Jackets do. About a minute later, they go right the other way. And Joshua Waugh probably should be sent back down before Thursday's game because he's in the slot. He's just floating. Adam Fantilli is probably given the easiest goal of his career. He's in the slot. Waugh's not really near him. He's just there. It's as if he's trying to act like he's covering Fantilli. But the pass gets right to Fantilli, and he puts it home at 9:47. Fantilli with his 6th of the year from Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov. So Marchenko extends a point streak to, I believe it's 12 games, 11 or 12 games. They mentioned on the broadcast a couple times that Marchenko has the longest active point streak right now in the NHL. I believe he's now one off from Ryan Johansson's point streak in Columbus franchise history for the longest point streak. He's, I believe, one off of tying that. So good on him. I like Marchenko. He's a good player. And just god-awful defensive play by Joshua Waugh. And quite frankly, I really hope he does get sent down and Florian Jackie's called up for the Capitals game. Or at least someone who can at least attempt to play defensively. Fantilli makes it 2-1 there. Jackets then go to a power play as Brendan Davidson is called for a hook. He's called for a hook on Damon Severenson. Jared Davidson's first career penalty. Probably one he's going to want back considering what's about to happen. But Werenski's stick ends up breaking on a shot. Dobesh holds immediately after. Evans tries to find Anderson with speed. It just kills time. Carrier has a good pass block. The Habs clear. Jackets get a near 2-on-1 after a Suzuki chance, and it's a 5-on-3. Suzuki is called for a slash. Nick Suzuki, who is clearly playing injured at this stage right now, and it showed there. Usually he'd be able to get back, and maybe if he takes a penalty, it's a hook, but no, he just slashes at the stick, and it's called. So it's a 5-on-3. It's only for about 30 seconds, but it's still a 5-on-3. Those are going to be dangerous no matter what. Dobesh has a good pair of stops right in front. Monahan with a one-timer. That misses wide. That goes all the way back to the Blue Jackets zone. Jackets cycle, as I put his name in my notes this time, Marchenmo, but Marchenko fans on one. Jackets keep control. Voronkov's on the ice for 3 minutes, which is just crazy. He's on the ice for 3 straight minutes. And the Blue Jackets score. Who else? Dmitry Voronkov. He gets a goal. He tips it in right at the line, basically. He's right in the crease. He gets it with the tip right in front. Voronkov with his 8th of the year, his 2nd of the night. His 2nd point of the night, I should say. My apologies. He scores from Kirill Marchenko and Zach Werenski at 13:32. That's one I think Dobesh will want back, even though, again, it's a tip right in front. I think it's one he's going to want back looking at it, but Yeah, it's 3-1 Blue Jackets. The Habs are just 1 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. Don't get used to hearing a lot of penalties. The Habs will not get gifted any the way the Blue Jackets were tonight. Bolduc stopped on a centering feed by Suzuki. That gets gloved down. Hudson off a draw looks for a tip shot. Sorry, that's an easy stop for Jet Greaves. Chinnikov was left all alone. He shoots just wide. My God, the Canadiens were not trying at this stage. Hudson has a blocked shot. The Habs can't get one on the ensuing rush. Habs go offside with 59 seconds left. Matheson then runs into Demidov in his own zone, and that'll do it for the second period. The shots are 16-15 for the Canadiens. Columbus have a 3-1 lead after this period. So, yeah. All right, so in the third period, there's a Hudson shot blocked. The other way, Marchenko has a steal, but there's no shot. 3:30 in, Habs try to cycle it. Suzuki finds Caulfield, but it's just off his stick away from the net. Caulfield was trying to tip that one in, but he just couldn't. Habs press. Waugh has a shot that's stopped. Evans then gets a look from Slav, but the shot is wide. Evans sets up Anderson. The puck rolls off his tape. Dobesh has a stop on Sillinger 8 minutes in. And going the other way, the Habs score. It's 3-2, just like that. Josh Anderson gets his, surprisingly, his third goal of the year. He puts it into basically a wide open net. He just taps it home with the backhand, and he'll get that one. Hudson just shoots it on net. Anderson's there to get the rebound, and who would have thought? You just shoot at the net. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, Anderson scores that from Hudson and Evans at 8:28, and all of a sudden, this game goes from looking like, yeah, the Canadiens suck, they are not going to make it whatsoever, and all of a sudden, it's a one-goal game. You never know what can happen from here. Anderson on the very next shift gets a chance, and he just doesn't shoot. That's off of a rush from Brendan Gallagher. Habs press, there's a good shift from Slavkovsky. He nearly gets a shot for Dobson, who was joining the forwards during a cycle. Jackets start to press. Habs have a couple good hits there, actually. There's a Caulfield shot that's held. Waugh and a Jacket end up shoving each other. Waugh was getting a bit physical at this point in the game. Gallagher gets away with a high stick on Miles Wood. That's very surprising, given the referees notably do not like Brendan Gallagher. And as I mentioned earlier, Miles Wood, who just recently came back from that high stick to his eye. Thankfully this one not in the eye. It was in the ear. It's still going to hurt a lot, but I'm sure he'd much rather take a high stick to the ear than a high stick to the eye again. Habs do end up getting a shot as a result. That's held. Caulfield has a shot with 3:10 stopped with the pad. Suzuki rushes in. The shot gets gloved and held with 150 left. And for the next draw, Dobesh is off. We're going with the empty net. Olivier's stick breaks off the draw. Montreal with insane amount of pressure. And Montreal scores with a minute 19 left in what was supposed to be the game. Now just in the third period. Lane Hudson, he has a shot that gets through traffic. It looked like it might have been tipped by Yuri Slavkovsky, but it looks, given that NHL.com hasn't fixed the goal and credited it to Slavkovsky, it's safe to say that goes off a Blue Jackets stick and into the net. Lane Hudson ties the game up at 3 apiece. He just shoots it again. You shoot it, you never know what's going to happen. Hopefully this means Lane Hudson's about to start shooting a lot more than he was before. Hudson gets his second of the year, I believe his 8th career goal. He gets that from Dobson and Caulfield, again with just a minute 19 left in the game. Habs off the draw, try to press, but there's a pass all the way back to Dobesh. He plays it out. Habs call a timeout with 26.6 seconds left. But they can't get anything. The shots are 26-23 for Montreal. A 3-3 tie headed into overtime. Yeah, Habs just rallied back. Habs had a really good third period. I probably should have mentioned as well. I didn't put in my notes and I just remembered. The top line was back together. Slav was being put back on that top line. It was a stupid experiment by Marty St. Louis to try Bolduc on that top line instead of Demidov, but yeah, the top line was put back together, the second line was put back together, and hey, who would have thought? They scored 2 goals. They didn't score again They didn't score directly, but still, they got more chances in that third period than they did in the first two periods with Bolduc on the top line. But regardless, we're going to overtime, in which Habs win the draw. Suzuki bursts through center, but the shot gets deflected wide. Oh, nice. I just, right while I'm recording, I just made a sale on eBay. Shout out. Suzuki bursts through center, but the shot gets deflected wide. Habs have control. Demidov good deking to hold off Monahan and try and tucker him out. He doesn't get a shot, though. Matheson gets hit hard along the boards. He was a bit slow to get up. He would take another shift, though, so hopefully if he is hurt, it's just a, ow, I'm hurt, it's sore, and he'll be good for next game. And yeah, I am expecting to hear tomorrow, yeah, Matheson's out for 4 months. That's just the way the luck of the draw has gone for the Canadiens recently. Dobson gets found on a sort of 2-on-1 by Caulfield, and Greaves, good stops, good pair of stops there for him. Back the other way, Provorov's in on a 2-on-1, and I believe it's Suzuki. He blocks the pass across. Canadiens press. Jackets try to get something. And last minute, good rush chance by the Canadiens. Caulfield, Hudson to Demidov. That is stopped by Greaves. That was a great stop there. Shots are 32-23 for the Canadiens. That's right, the shots in overtime were 6-0 for the Canadiens. That is right. 6-0 shots for the Canadiens. And they somehow did not score. We are unfortunately basically going to a skills competition. We're just going to a shootout. Again, I actually agree with the hockey guy on this. If you don't score in overtime, it's basically a tie, and just give a point to whoever, essentially. Give the extra point to whoever. You don't show that you're really better than the other team. It's just, again, just a skills competition is basically what it is. I'm fully personally in favor of 10-minute overtime, and if you somehow can't score in 10 minutes, a tie. I'm personally a fan of that. I know the NHL probably hates doing the ties, so yeah, but we're going to a shootout in which Columbus will be shooting first. Kent Johnson, he scores. Forehand, backhand, just dekes off a sprawling Dobesh, puts it up and over. For Suzuki, who I would like to point out completely sucks in the shootout. And if you're about to tell me, Harry, no, Suzuki's good in the shootout. He is 0 for 13 in his last 13 attempts in the shootout. He has not scored a shootout goal since December 2023. I love Zooks. He's the captain. Of course, I absolutely love the guy. But he should not be slotted out in the first 3 shootout attempts. It should be Caulfield, Demidov, and if he's in the lineup, Line A, and if he's not, I don't know, give it to Hudson or something. Like, I don't know, maybe Bolduc can get out there. Slav has a decent shot. Hell, try Jacka. You never know. But God, Suzuki needs to be put down into the 4th seed for that shootout attempts. Yeah, he comes in and, this is where it's 0 for 13. He comes in with no speed, which I'm actually a fan of usually. That helps out a player in most cases. He puck handles, but the pad gets stopped off after he dekes Greaves out. Greaves just gets the pad on it. That sucks. Damn it. It's still 1-0 Columbus, though. Adam Fantilli's up, and it's a pad stop on a straight shot. Dobesh has a very easy save to make there, and he makes it. Caulfield in, and he's stopped. So, Marchenko... No, wait. They look at it. It's a goal. Caulfield beats out Jet Greaves 5-hole, but the shot was so good, it just looked like it didn't go through and Greaves saved it. The Blue Jackets fans are cheering as if it was stopped, but no, it's in the net, and the game is tied. Caulfield gets it on the 5-hole. Really good shot there. It is Kirill Marchenko, though, 3rd shooter for the Blue Jackets. And Jakub Dobesh, this is where he needs to be better. He needs to stop this one. Marchenko just basically has a slow shot. I believe it goes 5-hole. Dobesh needs to be better on that one. I get it's a skills competition, and it's very tough to make a save in a shootout, but that's one he absolutely should have. He needs to have. Marchenko gives the Jackets the lead. Hey, Ivan Demidov's out, though, for the Canadiens. He's the third shooter. Skates in, and he just kind of goes midsection, basically. I don't think he got all of it, but Gariz makes the save. The Habs lose 4-3 in the shootout. Yeah, a game that they needed to win. They at least get a point in, so they, I believe, are tied with the Detroit Red Wings, if I saw correctly during the game. I'm loading up the NHL standings right now just to confirm for myself. And yeah, we are tied now with the Detroit Red Wings in points. They obviously have the lead on us, though. They have one more win in the column. They have 3 more regulation wins than us, though, so they are up and over us as well. I almost kind of hope Detroit does pass Boston right now, because if they do, it would look like Montreal and Boston in the first round, which obviously is way too early to to tell if it's what the standings are going to be, because the Red Wings are not going to be first in the Atlantic come playoffs. They're going to fall off come December, but it'd still be cool to see for, a day or two, just to see Montreal and Boston in that 2-3 seed. But yeah, so that's the game. A game where Montreal played a period and 5 minutes. I don't consider overtime a full period. But the Canadiens played good for about 25 minutes of a 65-minute game. They got lucky enough to get a point, and then they lose. I'll take the 1 point in a game we really didn't deserve to be in. But yeah, so that is it for the game. We'll do the stats, and then we'll get on out of here. I've actually got a little bit of something to go along. Like, when Suzuki was having his point streak, I was mentioning that. I've got a couple little things like that I'll talk about while we're doing the stats. So Nick Suzuki, the captain, of course, he still leads the team with 4 goals, 17 assists, 21 points. Cole Caulfield, not far behind him at all. He's got 13 goals, 7 assists for 20 points. Only one behind the captain now. Lane Hudson, he has 2 goals, 14 assists, 16 points. Ivan Demidov's got 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. Alex Newhook, who is unfortunately hurt, has 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points. Noah Dobson, he's got a goal and 11 assists for 12 points. That trade with the Islanders is looking very good for both teams so far. Oliver Kapanen, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. Mike Matheson with 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points. Juraj Slafkovsky's got 7 goals, 2 assists for 9 points. Kirby Dach has 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Brendan Gallagher's got 7 assists. He is currently on a 6-game pointless drought. Zach Bolduc's got 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. He is now on a 9-game pointless drought. I was going to call him Zach Carrier. Alexander Carrier has a goal and 5 assists for 6 points. Above him, though, forgot to put this, Josh Anderson and Jake Evans, each with 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points. Jaden Struebel's got 4 assists. Caden Gooley, who is unfortunately still hurt, has a goal and an assist for 2 points. Arbor Jacki and Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still out, each have an assist. Arbor Jacki, surprisingly, on a 16-game pointless drought. I am pretty surprised by that, with how good his defensive game has gotten. Maybe not how good, but how solid he's been in his limited ice time. I would have thought that he'd have another point or two by now, but regardless, Arbor Jacki also has 3 fights. Jaden Struebel has 2 fights. Caden Gooley and Joe Veleno each have a fight. Joe Veleno, who is rocking a 14-game pointless drought. My God. Jakub Dobesh is rocking a 6-1-2 record. He has a it's not updated right now, but as of before last game, he has, actually I can probably find this on, I assume HockeyDB's probably got it updated. I'd hope they do. And yes, they do. He has a 2.71 goals against average and an 8.98 save percentage. I would really appreciate this to be, oh, no, it actually did get updated. Wow. Okay, it did. My apologies. He's got a 2.71 or 2.70 goals against average and an 8.98 save percentage. The 8.98, by the way, which is somehow still 22nd in the league. A lot of goal scoring going on in the National Hockey League right now. Dobesh before tonight was rocking a 5.32 goals against average and a 7.80 save percentage in his last 2 games. Samuel Montembeault has a 4-5-1 record with a 3.56 goals against average and an 8.58 save percentage. on his season. So, yeah, that is going to do it for today's game. Thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, don't forget to like if you're on YouTube. Subscribe if you're on YouTube as well. Hit the follow button if you're on Spotify, Amazon, wherever you're listening to this. Don't forget to share it with your friends, your family, anyone who might like Canadiens podcasts, fan casts in general, hockey podcasts, so they're just trying to look for a Canadiens podcast maybe. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And always remember, no matter how good we are like last year, no matter how average we are like this year, go Habs go, Allez Montreal, and say it with me everybody, Celebu!